Imsirovic is a senior research fellow at the Oxford Institute for Energy Studies and joins us live now. Adi, it seems likely the EU will be phasing out Russian oil imports by the end of this year. This important meeting taking place today. What sort of challenges does that present for the bloc, do you think?
It's good to be back, Naweed. On the oil side, the challenge that is going to be a challenge for sure, because we're talking about a major importer of Russian oil and gas, and particularly products. And we already see in Europe, and of course, because oil markets are global, it's not just Europe. You see, for example, diesel exports from Russia that are very important, we call it middle distillates, are making a really big impact on the market, and they're very, very tight. So what we need to understand is that oil is going to be a big deal, but gas is going to be far harder. So I think one thing during this meeting for the energy ministers is going to keep in mind at the back of their minds the gas side, because they know that Russia is not going to just going to sit back and say, okay, you are going to ban imports of our oil, but we won't do anything. We've already seen in your show very well presented the bans on export of gas to Bulgaria and Poland. You know, Europe is far more dependent on Russian gas than it is on oil. On the other side of the coin, it's Russia that's far more dependent on the oil and products exports to Europe, because under normal circumstances, about 4/5 of all the revenues to the government from the exports of oil and products actually come from that source. So gas for them is a little bit less important. For Europe, gas is far more important.
And just give us a sense of those financial details then, because a lot's been made about how this money is being used. How important is oil in terms of revenue for Russia, and how does it compare to gas?
Well, as I said, it's under normal circumstances about 4/5. Gas currently, because gas prices have got quite a lot inflated, we are talking about 400 to 500% increase in gas prices in the last 3 months. We're talking about $400 million dollars a day that Europe is paying to Russia. So obviously, the thinking behind this whole story is like, why are we feeding this beast that's actually waging a major war in Europe? How can we stop that? How can we cut the supply of this money going to Putin? I wouldn't say Russia, I would say Putin. And it's huge. It's absolutely massive. At the same time, all the Europeans are absolutely aware of the fact, particularly those more dependents like Czech Republic, like Hungary, like Germany, that if they cut the energy supplies from Russia, they're also cut off from a major source of their revenue in terms of industry, because German industry, for example, highly depends on the energy imports from Russia. So it's like I always use the analogy of conjoined twins. That separation will never, ever be easy.
And just lastly, if I get your thoughts on what this will mean for the European countries, the timelines we're hearing the end of the year, that's just a matter of months. What's that going to mean for ordinary people in the EU if Russian oil and gas is cut off, particularly with things like inflation and the cost of living crisis across the continent?
Well, what we already see, cost of living and inflation is already happening. So because uncertainty with regards to the decisions on both sides of the political coin are actually already feeding into the prices. In fact, it'd probably be better if the European Union and Russia sorted it out quicker, because I think prices would probably come off a little bit. Right now, we've got a lot of uncertainty. So we've got uncertainty, we've got inflation, it's very hard. And in fact, it's really hard for the ordinary people. I think IMF has come out with some really good suggestions that European countries, rather than subsidizing their prices, should actually just go and give cash to the ordinary people and make sure that the ordinary people are protected. At the same time, Europe has to do a lot of hard work to wean off Russian energy. And we're talking about at least 1 year of extremely hard work, trying to work both on supply and demand side of the equations. For example, increasing energy efficiency, looking for new, diverse sources of supply, both gas and oil, and generally energy policies that work. So I think Europe is going to hurt, but what is really unfortunate now is that I think in the meantime, Europe is a wealthy part of the world. It's the developing part of the world is going to actually suffer most because all these high prices and inflation, Europeans will survive, but you know the sort of Egypts of this world, the sub-Saharan Africa of this world, Southeast Asia will find it very difficult to cope with.
Yeah, and we're seeing the effects of it reverberate all around the world. Thanks for your insights, Adi. That's Adi Imsirovic, Senior Research Fellow at the Oxford Institute for Energy Studies.
You're welcome. Thank you.